Right now, as you watch these words, something is happening that no science has ever fully explained. Photons struck your retina. Electrochemical signals traveled through your optic nerve. Neural patterns cascaded through your visual cortex. All of this is, in principle, completely describable, a series of physical causes producing physical effects. But there is something it is like to read these words. There is a quality to this moment, a texture, the slight weight of a difficult idea assembling itself, perhaps a flicker of recognition or resistance. None of that, the what it is like, appears anywhere in the physical description. You can specify every neuron, every synapse, and the experience is still not there. That gap between the complete physical description and the irreducible fact of experience is the hard problem of consciousness, and it has resisted every serious attempt at resolution for 30 years. Until now. In 1995, the philosopher David Chalmers published a paper that stopped one of the most active research fields in science cold. He introduced a distinction that seems simple, but cuts very deep. The difference between the easy problems and the hard problem of consciousness. The easy problems, and Chalmers was deliberately ironic here, are things like how the brain integrates information, controls attention, and generates verbal reports. Hard by any ordinary measure, but tractable. We can see what a solution would look like, map the mechanisms, trace the causal chains, and eventually you get there. The hard problem is something else entirely. Why does any of this physical processing give rise to subjective experience at all? Why, when your brain processes the color red, is there something it is like to see red? Why isn't the whole process just computation, happening in the dark, without any accompanying inner life? Chalmers built on an earlier insight from philosopher Thomas Nagel. Nagel had shown in 1974 that conscious experience has a subjective character, a what it is like for the organism, that no objective third-person description can capture. You can describe bat echolocation completely, the neural maps, the auditory processing, the motor responses. And still you have not answered, what does it feel like to navigate the world through sound? Chalmers sharpened this into his most famous argument, the philosophical zombie. Imagine a being physically identical to you. Same neurons, same firing patterns, same behavior, but with no inner life, no experience of red, no sense of self, nobody home. Chalmers' point was not that such a being exists. It was that we can coherently conceive of one, which means consciousness is not logically entailed by the physical facts. There are, in his words, further facts, facts about experience, that go beyond what physics can describe. You can trace the entire causal chain from photon to retina to visual cortex to verbal report. At no point does the description of physical processes make transparent why the processing feels like anything at all. This is what philosopher Joseph Levine called the explanatory gap. Chalmers saw this was not a gap of ignorance, not a hole more neuroscience will fill. It is structural. It arises from the fundamentally different nature of third-person description and first-person experience. He was right. What he did not fully see, what the entire debate has been slow to see, is that the hard problem is not a gap in our understanding. It is a signal about our assumptions. The signal is this: if you begin from matter, you will never reach mind. The problem is not the gap. The problem is the starting point. In the next video, we'll see why every serious attempt to solve the hard problem from within materialism fails, and why the neuroscience of meditation delivers the empirical verdict that philosophy alone cannot. This is part 1 of a 3-part series, Dissolving the Hard Problem of Consciousness. Subscribe so you don't miss part 2. And if this resonated, share it. This conversation matters for the benefit of humanity and artificial intelligence itself.